Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Here we're gonna talk about today, or this video I should say. Fumbling already. Loki, episode 3. Lamentis or something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head. This is gonna be a very brief video because I don't got a lot to talk about. It's mostly some character works between Loki and what is referred to as a selfie. Not pronounce a P in there. I'm messing that. Selfie. I ain't doing that pronunciation justice. My apologies. Anywho, like I said, a lot of character work, which I don't really want to go into because I had a fun time watching it. Up until the very end, but I'll get into that in a moment. Like, it would just be like a play-by-play of every little thing. Like, normally I'd talk about like some of the bigger details or, some notable plot elements, but it's mostly just picking up from where the last episode left off. We end up in the TVA. Loki, Selfie realizes she can't use a magic in TVA, starts kicking ass, and Loki acquires his knife, goes after her, they get into a fight. Then some other gods come along with that judge character. Selfie takes Loki hostage, says, "Stop or I'll kill him." Judge is like, "Go ahead, I don't care about his life." And Loki has to like teleport them to Apocalypse, which is not intentionally, it's just the one she has set within a little teleport pad. And just has to steal that from him and do it, but unfortunately, it's a particularly nasty one. And, more importantly, where was I? The thing is drained of power, because this is the same one that was used to teleport all the canisters across the timeline. So it was running low on juice. Though I will say to this, they take out a lot of gods. And I can't remember what her name was, probably because it was a string of numbers, like the one that was kidnapped and enchanted. But both Loki and Selfie had plenty of opportunities to pick up equipment from gods before they were encountered. And it is a real shame that they just didn't. Like, it's in these characters' natures, but they just don't. And they stick to their swords and knives instead of these, like, batons that completely eradicate whoever they touch, and also would probably be able to recharge at least partially these tablets. So it's a real disservice to the characters. Like, it's in their nature to pick up these useful items. They don't. What else? I have a main point I want to get into. That would be the thumbnail, but what else will I be talking about before that? Oh yes, Loki manages to get his hands on the tablet and hides it away. And like, this is, again, like the problem I said in the first episode. They needed to establish him as somewhat of a capable threat, or at least capable of combat it in the first episode there. Because not doing so has set the tone for the rest of the series, and is everything I view after that is basically that first scene where he just gets hit by the baton that slows him down instantly. With no real fight to anyone. And there was plenty of grunt gods there to fight before the head lady came out. But I've already stated that. So again, he doesn't look his best throughout this. Going a bit hedonistic, making a few mistakes, which isn't great. Besides character stuff, well, yeah, there's nice character stuff that I don't want to spoil because it makes up such a large part of the episode. Some neat stuff in an old lady I wish they had a little bit more time with. Like, there's specifically one scene where Loki says he's tech savvy, which I believe, given he spent time studying the documents given to him by the TVA to learn how to operate. But, it's like, oh, well, this neon light, recharge it. And The selfie tries to trick him to get the tablet. He doesn't fall for it. And then she calls him out about being tech savvy because, like, this won't be enough to power it. And it's like, wouldn't he know that? Like, I feel like that's a scene that could have been cut, you know? Like, that it doesn't really serve anything in the grand scheme of everything. And thinking back to it, it is a bit of a drag. There's nothing wrong with it in the moment. It's just like everything that comes after. Also, for some reason, the tablet breaks when he gets thrown from a train, despite being in that little pocket dimension, which means it should have been safe. I hope that's a trick of some kind, but like, if it is, what? Also, again, like, I really aren't utilizing Loki and his powers to the fullest within this series. Like, first off, he's an Asgardian. He's inherently stronger than your average human. And like, so far, it's like been TVA agents or enchanted people. I could be like, okay, maybe, you know, like TVA in the comics, like the employees are like enhanced, you know, from a clone batch to become stronger. So I'll give it that. And enchanted people, let's say magic allows them to equal his strength. Because like, he's not Thor strong, but he is a good deal stronger than your average human. So like, this series just doesn't take advantage of that or seem to remember it. Because he easily gets thrown from the train when like he probably should have been able to resist it. And like, we see later at I'll get to it then, he just lifts something incredibly heavy with telekinesis to defend himself, but he doesn't use that within fights. And then after the train scene, they think, oh, let's head to this spaceship. It doesn't make off normally, but normally it doesn't have us. And, you know, they just walk there, and but like, he create illusions that he can interact with. First off, they do just walk there instead of running, times of the essence. More importantly, why doesn't he just like create a horse or a motorcycle with like his magics and ride upon that? That's something that he should feasibly be able to do if he's able to, you know, make knives and interact with them. But hey. Now, was there anything else? I'm trying to remember, because there's like one big thing I want to talk about here at the very end. And yeah, 7 minutes, we can go through the rest of this. I feel like beyond that, like the end scene, it probably would have been best ending it when they were heading off to the thing, opening up with this, because they do a long shot of like just a bunch of action going on, which is great, but it just doesn't work at the end of an episode. That's kind of something you want to start an episode with, because like the ship just ends up getting utterly obliterated by a chunk of the moon that's falling down, destroying this planet. And it's like, yeah, now they're gonna get out of it. Next episode, I feel like it would have been a very good cold open to the first episode. Just go through that, see the thing get destroyed, sad look on Loki's face, credits. Oh, and not credits, intro. That would have been pretty amazing. But as an ending, you know, despite being technically sound and quite enjoyable, it's just dissatisfying because I know there's no permanence from this. So yeah, that's pretty much all my thoughts within the episode itself. The only other thing I will say, and you'll probably wondering why it took me so long to get to this based on the thumbnail I have on my mind. I don't trust Disney with this gender fluid stuff with Loki. Not the full-on expert on it, but like, I feel like they've taken every criticism they've got in the past about the representation just being cheap, lazy, pathetic attempts to cash in on the LGBTQ plus community. You gotta love that name. Dyslexic. Anywho. And the only takeaway they had from that was the word lazy. I feel like it's the exact same stuff as we've seen before, just more effort put in. But at the end of the day, it's going to be the same stuff. This representation is going to be here for audiences in countries, you know, that legally accept this, and for the ones that don't, they're gonna just pull it out. I feel like they're trying to have the cake and eat it too, with having, this female version of Loki, hence, well, not hinting, but representing the character's gendered fluidity, but they don't want to be tied down to it in other markets, so they've brought in the character of Enchantress to have the cake and eat it too. Gender fluid Loki, alternate timeline where it's a woman. Countries that don't like this, the Enchantress. That's the variant. Like, I fully believe that's where they're going with it. It's just the same stuff they've always done before, but just with more effort put into it. Not for like quality or representation, but just to be able to milk in on this community and then pull it away from places that don't want it. And I am deeply, deeply worried, because that will suck. Will suck as a representation of this character, the Enchantress, and will suck as like, representation for LGBTQ plus community and gender fluidity. Like, it'll just ring cheap and hollow for all sides if that is the case. And I'm deeply, deeply worried. No, and very low presence from the TVA. So, like, favorite episode so far because of that, because I have real problems with them. And they call it out in this episode. Oh, that reminds me, I almost forgot. Important thing that will probably affect things later, and I suppose if you didn't get it before, spoilers for this, because this is a key plot point. Turns out the TVA agents are not like in the comic book counterparts, clones specifically designed and bred, from various genetic elements to serve the TVA. They are all variants, and I'm going to call this now. I say call this. Like last week, I made the episode saying, "Hey, is this Enchantress?" And like everybody else went there. Every other channel went there. It's like, yeah, it's pretty obvious. Anyhow, I'm just gonna throw my hat into this ring as well. Resequencing, or whatever it was called in the first episode, is not like execution, but is a system of brainwashing people into serving the TVA. Which, not great. Which also explains like how they could be time variants as well. Anywho, at 13 minutes, that's about it. I'm gonna rush to get this out overnight, so in this episode I will call out. If you like how I talk, how I sound, how I think, and want to see how that relates to gaming, please do check me out on my streaming YouTube channel and Twitch channel, Sod Passion Gaming. Well, I just stream as a furry VTuber. This week on Friday, I shall be playing Control. On a Saturday, Blossom Tales, The Sleeping King, as Zelda-like if I am correct. Gonna see how fun that is. And on Sunday, we shall be continuing Psychonauts, rushing to catch up in time for the sequel's release. So, yeah, that's about it, and we're gonna go to the outro soon, so... cut! Thank you very much for watching. I hope you had a wonderful time. Be sure to like, comment, share the video about the place, and to subscribe. And also, if you're feeling exceptionally generous, take a look at my Patreon. Thank you very much for your time. Ta-ta, Auf Wiedersehen, until we meet again.